Good morning everyone, my friends. We are in Edinburgh and we are back in Edinburgh. It was 2018 to 2020. I got in Edinburgh in a way that I did not expect, and Edinburgh, as many of my friends knew, was the last place. Edinburgh and Scotland was the last place I would have always wanted to go. I always told friends that I wasn't interested in Scotland. It was too cold, it was too grey, and that I would never move to live in Scotland. How I ended up there, it's part of that unexplainable, unexplainable, that part of that unexplainable, I don't know how to say. It's part of what we cannot explain about life. Something big than us that plays with our lives and redirect us in a situation and events that goes beyond what we think we can control. That's what happened to me with Edinburgh. I would say let's skip back to 1 year. I went to see fortune teller, mainly out of curiosity, because I heard from a friend and then now became my girlfriend. I heard from what then would become my girlfriend, about this fortune teller that predicted for her that will have her job with a certain amount of money, and I remember she was talking to a friend, and she said that she laughed when this fortune teller told her that, because at the time she was at the peak of her career and she was making a lot of money, and she was very happy. There was no intention until the CEO resigned and the new CEO was promoted, that didn't like her, and trying in many different ways to get rid of Elizabeth, and finally manage with a move to transfer to Hong Kong, knowing that she just had bought a house. She just had a second kid, and she would never be able to go, so that she found herself with no other way than to resign. And when she resigned, I don't know how you call it, like the leave, or anyway, it's money that you get when you resign. I think from a full-time contract or with this corporation. I don't know. I work in hospitality. We don't have it. So anyway, when she resigned, she received a big paycheck, and it was exactly the amount of money that this fortune teller, her name it's Pauline in Milton Keynes, predicted. So at the time I was writing a blog, I was interested in those kind of people. So I got that number, and a month later, I was making my way to Milton Keynes to go to meet this famous psychic. We met, and she lived in a small detached house in just outside Milton Keynes city center. To welcome me, there was her secretary that I think is the son or nephew, and she was a lovely lady. We sit on the table. She sit in front of me. She asked me for my name, surname, date of birth, the day I was born. Sorry, the time I was born. And then she started to say things, many things. I would win the lottery. I would meet a blonde girl that would be the woman of my life. I would have a teeth problem. I would have a issue with. I would have a problem with vitamins, and the last that by the next year, in October or November, I would leave London to move to another country. So I wasn't there to know my future. I was there only to see who she was, so that I could write about, and I could learn more about those kind of people. And so there was no interest if the future would happen or not. Plus, I believe that, we probably have written futures, endless of written futures. But the future change as it changed what we believe in the present moment, and what we believe about the future. So how we change, as we change within, the possible future change. So I pay Pauline, not too much, it was like £40, make my way back to London. And in the next year, things started to unfold. In most of the time, not exactly as she said, but the key points did all happen. Plus, there was one more. She would say there was a man called Gordon that was always looking for me, and he was Scottish. Now, I did win the lottery. Never won before. It was like a small amount, like £6. I did meet a blonde woman with blue eyes that she told me she would carry a portfolio and she would show up at my cafe. It did happen, and actually she was someone who was working part-time for me. She was the woman of my life, but as she predicted, she was someone. So I knew she was studying, but I didn't know what. And that day she stopped at the cafe for coffee to go to uni, and with the portfolio, blue eyes, blonde, and she studied graphic designer, as Pauline said. Then she told me there was a man always looking for me. So at the time there was a guy called Robert. He used to be my regular customer when I worked in another cafe nearby. So I thought maybe it's this man. I never knew his surname. I didn't know if he, I knew he was English, but she said that it would be a guy called Gordon from Scotland, always looking for me. So I asked him, "Hi Robert, is it by any chance your surname is Gordon?" And he's like, "No, but it's funny you say that, because my grandmother, that was Scottish, the surname was Gordon." So again, as key point, as she said, but not exactly in the way didn't really happen in the way she predicted. So one of the things she predicted right, I would have problem with the issue with vitamins, and at the time I think I was about, I started a more vegan diet, and I was not doing it properly. And when I went to do some blood check, hair check, as I was feeling, so I was so weak it turns out I was lacking of those vitamins. And then there was, she said I would have a problem with teeth. I would have a teeth problems, and it would cost me a lot of money. I did not have teeth problems. My mom did. She asked me to for £2,500, and yeah, it did happen. It cost me a lot of money, but it wasn't my teeth problems. And then was summertime. Around summertime, I remember it was September, and I matched with this Thai woman on Tinder. We start to chit chat, and it turns out that she lives in Edinburgh, and she was in holiday in London, visiting London, and that's where we matched. And chit chatting, she invites me to go to Edinburgh. So what I do is like, what beautiful woman, and I thought, okay, I never been to Scotland. I never been interested, but let's go. So I take the night bus to Edinburgh, and already things started to take a very interesting turn. So on the bus, I received a message from a good friend from New Zealand that I didn't hear for a really long time. And she tells me, how are you, blah, blah, blah. She asked me for money because she met a guy that was trading or something. Obviously, I give her no money, so I didn't trust what was going on. And then she tells me that there is the All Blacks, that is the New Zealand rugby team, that was playing in that night against versus Scotland. And I said, oh, that's funny. So I'm actually heading to Scotland right now. I was like, oh yeah, I guess they're playing in Edinburgh. So I was like, okay. There was something already was going on. And once I arrived, there was something. There was like something like a connection happened. I was feeling there was something there, and it was immediate as soon as I arrived. And as I spent that 2 days wandering around, exploring, sightseeing, and more this wonder and interest and amaze for this city, for Edinburgh, was kind of like overwhelming. It was overwhelming, and I was feeling so good to be there. That there was something that started to move within me that I could not explain. And I was so attracted by this city. It was something incredible. So I met this girl anyway, and we met one night for drinks, and that's it. Like I didn't manage to meet her again, and in the meantime, the day after, again I matched with a girl. She was a Japanese, and we can't manage to meet because that night I had to go back in London. But we keep in touch. And again, she invites me to come back, to go back. So I basically in 2 weeks make another trip to Edinburgh. Yeah, you can. I think you can already see that something was going on, right? So I make my second trip. I met this woman. Nothing happened, but that's when I knew that I wanted to move to live in this city. it was just beautiful, it was wonderful, it was magical, and I really felt drawn to. I was really felt drawn. I was like this really, this there was this inner call, this inner voice saying, that that would be an amazing place to go. Like if there was something there that I needed to go and discover. So months pass by, and I make a obviously I think about it a lot, and rationally there was nothing from me that would make sense to move to Scotland. I was having probably I was the greatest time in London. Things was going pretty good, job was going pretty good, life was going pretty good, but there was this voice telling me that I had to make this move. So I did listen this time to my inner voice, and I quit the job, left the house, and I made my way to Edinburgh. I made my way to Edinburgh, and well, the last girl I matched on Tinder, then became a key friend with a lot of dramas as well over there. Like if maybe there might have been some past life connection, but only after I think a month that I was in Edinburgh, I remember what Pauline said 1 year before. I would move to live in Edinburgh. It would be now October, November. I mean, she got the months right. It's just me now. I don't remember exactly the month I went there, but it was exactly in the month she said, and technically Scotland is another country. So Edinburgh needed to happen, and in 2 years there I understood what was the reason, and I remember that as I moved in Edinburgh from, I think it was like 6 or 7 months, I was having a insane amount of deja vu. Deja vu is that feeling of I've been there, I've seen it before, but that you cannot explain because you know that in theory you haven't been there, but you have this strong feeling of knowing the place, the area, you've already been there. At that, we all have a deja vu through life, but I had it, and I have it at some time, but the amount was insane. Never had so many deja vus in just being in one place, for so many months. So obviously there was something, and that something might have been connected to an episode that took place in New Malden when I decided to do a past life regression years before moving to Scotland in London. So in New Zealand I read the book Many Lives, Many Masters of Brian Weiss that talks about past lives, and long story short, the movie is about this psychiatrist or psychologist that trying to help a patient to remove from her life phobias and traumas, unable to, after like 18 months, unable to help her. He tried this new technique that he started to practice recently, that was hypnosis. And because of that, she started to recall past lives. When under hypnosis, she would remember accurate events about the past that she could not know it. And each time she would remember past life, it would be connected to one of their traumas. And every time she would revisit that past life, she would remove and heal from that trauma. So until she started to channel messages from the other side, from entity that the writer called masters. So after reading this book, it changed completely my idea about life and the future. After that, that obviously made me interested to understand more. That's when I started to read about people that claim to have a near-death experiences, and consequently to write about. And then I began to meet people that claim to had it. I met doctors or nurses that told me about patients that told them stories about being in another side, the realm of reality and so on. So when I moved in London, I was really keen to have a past life regression myself, and researching someone I could do it. I felt like safe to choose this guy. He felt like he was the right one. His name is Nicholas Ayula. He's apparently a very famous psychic in London, and I called him and we arranged an appointment. When he told me the place, already I felt there was something that was very something bigger, because he gave me an appointment in New Malden. New Malden is the Korean town in London, and the biggest Korean community in Europe. And at the time there was going on something huge with this Korean girl I met in New Zealand. So, and plus there was many things happened between me and her that was really could not be explained as well. So already that was telling me that something was going on. And when the day I went to New Malden by train, that made it even more, I would say, more impactful, because I arrived in New Malden and there was the thickest fog I ever experienced since moving in London. Like since ever. I mean, I had it probably in my hometown. I had it in the past few times, but in London, since I was in London, I never seen it. It was so thick. It engulfed all the town in a very surreal, unreal way. It was so thick. It was crazy, especially because I left, central London. I mean, I lived in Fulham at the time, and it was fine. And then once I arrived there, it was this crazy foggy. There was this fog. It was insane. So there was something already, like a sign, something saying that something was going on. I I met him, and he put like he welcomed me, got me in the living room, made me sit very comfortable on the couch, and we started. Now, I feel that I haven't been hypnotized, but definitely stuff happened. I began to have images inside my head of situations that they had no reason to be there. So definitely, even if he didn't hypnotize me, the thing is that when you get hypnotized, you don't know you have been hypnotized. You know, it's like if you passed out and then you wake up somewhere else. You don't realize you passed out. You just remember that you were there, fine, but maybe something happened. That's it, and then you open your eyes and you're again. So, in my case, I didn't have that kind of thing, but who knows? Maybe I've been, but just did not realize. But still, there was a lot of things going on. Like I started to have like a image inside my head, because one of the things that he told me was to keep my mind still, like kind of like when meditating. But there were images coming in. Two of them basically. One, I see this girl dancing in a meadow, and immediately next to this woman dancing, the image of this Korean girl, Julie, or how she wanted to be called at the time, her English name. And then at the next image, I was inside a building. I felt to be in the Middle Age, and there was in this image there was a man hitting a woman with a belt. The woman was in a fetus position to protect. She was protecting herself from this person hitting with the belt, and immediately I felt that that was me, and that woman on the floor was Julie. So this is those images, those thoughts, or visions, you call it. They were already were random, because there was no connection with anything till that moment, or even from past. And then at the head, I had this thought about my dad that again had no reason to come in my head, because even in the recent time I was not thinking about him. So anyway, there was things that happened, and I won't deny, and that somehow was, or I felt was connected with years later when I moved in Edinburgh, where a day I decided to have a walk by the canal, trying to reach Glasgow. That then didn't happen, because it was actually it would take me much longer than I thought it would take. But while I was walking by the canal, there was it was a very surreal day. It was a bit like, it was kind of like raining, not too heavy, but it was grey. But the weather was, it gave to that little trip by the canal a magical, surreal atmosphere. It was beautiful in its own way. And so I was walking, and I received a call from my mom, so we start to chit chat, and while talking to mom, actually we were kind of like arguing. I noticed that I get a notification from Kakao Talk, that is kind of like WhatsApp, Facebook in Korea, and it was from Julie. I was surprised, because I did message her, like I think a few weeks ago, few weeks before, or a month before, she never replied. So I thought, she will never reply. And then random, boom, I get this message. It was very unexpected. And basically she tells me like she couldn't understand about something I said. So, because I was a bit emotional that morning, I felt I wanted to tell her everything I thought about me and her, about our connection, about what I thought about we being connected in past life, and about energy, about something that happened in my first few months in London, something mystical that happened one night, and I wanted to tell her. I didn't care if she thought I was crazy or not. I just felt I needed to tell her. So I start, I hang up the call with my mom, and I start to message her, explaining, telling everything.